always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Red Media in partnership with TSN, it is Season 7 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. The Tim's Hockey Challenge, it's back, and it's in the Tim Hortons app with a chance to win daily and also monthly prizes for picking players who you think will score. Plus, there's a chance to win a new Hyundai Tucson at the season end as part of our grand prize. Hey, Canadians, you can also try to keep a 7-day streak alive. And if you do that, you win a free coffee or tea if you choose for a week, not just a day, for a full 7-day week. Check out all the details. TimHortons.ca for the full list of prizes. So we're going to investigate the Tim's Hockey Challenge coming up later, as we do every podcast this season, right? See how you're doing, how I'm doing.
Yep.
How
We should be better. We should be better.
Yeah, I know we should. Now,
I want the week.
You're back.
I want the week. Yeah.
You're back in the home office, the home studio. Are you recharged? Are you geared up? Are you ready for what 2026 is throwing at you?
When I got on the plane yesterday, I was recharged. By the time I landed, I was like, man, I'm tired again. And then this is an early start. So, I got in, or me and the boys got in yesterday, and Cammie left this morning at 6. So I think I saw her for combined 7 minutes yesterday. She's on her way to their pro and amateur scouting meetings today. So I think all the teams kind of do it around this time of the year. First 2 weeks of January, they meet in certain places, and it's really a pretty cool process because they've spent the first half of the year looking at all these kids for the draft, and now they start really wedging in as to, what order they look at kids and who they go scout, and they've got their regional scouts all over. It's a pretty intensive couple of days.
Yeah, and some teams almost turn it into an event too, right? Like there's a social aspect to it. Often spouses will go. It's in a warmer climate, so it's a bit of a reward for the hard work that both the pros and the amateur scouts are doing.
There, 100% there is, and when you think of it, like the amateurs in particular, the scouts, that the miles they put on, the way that if you look at a scout schedule, sometimes you'll just scratch your head and go like, they're like, yeah, I can get to that place because then I could watch 2 games in that day because those 2 cities are only 20 miles apart, and then they get in the car after and drive 4 hours to go somewhere else to watch 2 games the next day. It's a pretty hard job. It's way harder than it might appear. And this week gets them, they get to bring their spouses in and socialize a little bit after they grind through the meetings all day.
I flew back from Minneapolis last Thursday, a week ago, and Todd Harvey was my seatmate.
Oh my God.
Oh, did we share some chuckles, man? He is just a funny dude. And really what got it going was, I don't know if you were paying attention to X while you were on your break, but Jeff O'Neill, the O-Dog in Minnesota, was just...
With the rankings of workouts?
Yeah, and he acknowledged Todd Harvey as being in the gym, and hey, Harv he's working it, he's doing it. So I see Todd as we're lining up to board. I'm like, geez, Harv. I said, good for you, man. You're back in the gym, and he just starts chuckling. It's like, no, I don't know what the hell he was doing or talking about.
That's when I read that the first day, I'm like, oh my God, I hope O does this all trip, because I think people know, but it's such nonsense.
It is.
He types it in a way that it makes it look like it's actually serious. I thought it was hilarious. I loved it.
Well, and then his other bit was describing Frankie Corrado as the worst driver in Canada, right? So he did this on Overdrive, and I'm making my way to St. Paul, And I get there. So we're there for the Wednesday unveiling of Team Canada, do the Canada-Finland game. And we're leaving post-game. And I'm in the car with Corrado, Mike Lane from TSN, and Jeff O'Neill. And we're in the parking lot. So I'm the last guy to get in the backseat passenger driver's side. And we're close to another vehicle. So I got to kind of squeeze my way in to get into the back seat. And I'm not even halfway into the car, and Frankie drives away. So my left leg is like dragging on the freaking parking lot. And I'm like, Frankie, and Lane is screaming, right? So anyway, that of course then turned into, from O'Neill's perspective, Corrado almost killed Dregs and dragged him for 100+ meters and all of this
See, he's close
nonsense.
with that, I'm sure. I'm sure he was close with that.
Anyway, Frankie's completely rattled still. He's like, he's got friends and family. They're wondering if he should put his twins in the car with him anymore because he's so terrible. So anyway, shout out to Frankie all as well. We've got a bit of a goalie theme here on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, Ray, coming up at the Canadian Brew House. But it's been a tough week, and some sad news before we get into the headlines. Glenn Hall, legendary, one of the best of all time, goaltender, of course, passed away yesterday, being Wednesday. 3 Vezina trophies, a Conn Smythe, and most impressively, untouchable stat, wouldn't you say? 502 consecutive starts back in the day. So, Mr. Hall, along with Dave Branch and Bob Pulford, 3 greats in the hockey community gone this week, but some records just aren't made to be broken. And I'm guessing that 502 straight starts is on that list, Ray.
Untouchable. What a gentleman, what a ambassador of the game. The starts total is, I mean, that's just not possible, right? Like it's, but in the day, right, it was not like there was an option. There was no other goalie for a lot of it.
No.
I saw something yesterday. I'd never seen it before, and it was an interview with Jacques Plante, Johnny Bauer, and Glenn Hall, and the 3 of them were on a panel, and it was just fascinating listening to them. Like they're like 3 of the greatest goaltenders of all time, just sitting on a panel talking about, how their games evolved and how everybody started to copy Jacques Plante because he would wander around and play the puck. And I don't know. It was just when you see like old nostalgic things and like, it was really great to see. Really, really an amazing piece, but a remarkable life and an untouchable career.
Right. And obviously deepest sympathies to the Hall family. Let's check out the Canadian Brew House headlines. And again, the goalie theme is part of this. Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. You can catch every game with beer specials, game day prizes, so much more. Of course, available at the best hockey house in town. See in-store or at thecanadianbrewhouse.com for details on what's happening locally near you. Okay. Wednesday night, until last night, we're recording here Thursday morning. Right. The St. Louis Blues, one more time, take it between the eyes. So they're down 7-2. 7 minutes left in the hockey game, losing the Chicago Blackhawks. Jim Montgomery tries to pull Jordan Binnington. He waves at him, Jordan, come to the bench. And Benner's just standing there going, I don't see another goalie. I don't see Joel Hofer on the bench. I don't see Hofer coming onto the ice here. I'm just going to stay in my crease and hold the fort. And you can tell Monty's got a bit of a slow burn developing because he's looking around going, what the hell's the holdup here? Where is my backup in this case? And then the camera sort of tunes in. And there you go. Zuby has isolated this. And there's Joel Hofer in the hallway, almost hiding behind a pillar, So, like, what?
Well, okay, so, well, it is funny because the communication obviously didn't get from A to B there.
No.
Right?
No.
So there's the first thing. The second thing is when you come out of the dressing room at the United Center, like it's not as convenient as you'd think. There's like
Yeah.
a, there's like a little turn and a walkway, and it just doesn't. It's not like a straight shot out of the dressing room. So I don't know what Hofer was doing there, but when Montgomery's turned around and looking down the hallway, and there's nobody coming there, it is just amazing video, because it just looks like it should never happen. I don't
No.
think it's terribly a big, it's not like it's a big deal, like somebody wasn't prepared, somebody didn't get the message. And if it wasn't going to get anywhere, it would be in that setting, like the
Hmm.
Chicago bench to the dressing room. One of the funniest things I've seen around that area was, you remember when the first e-bug came in? It was Scott Foster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was doing the game, and they had given us a piece of paper because Anton Forsberg got hurt in warm up, and they're like, hey, if they need the third goalie, this is his name. And we looked at the paper, crumpled it up, and threw it in the garbage, because, like, there's no chance they're going to need the
Yeah.
third
It's not
goalie.
going to happen. Yeah.
And then Colin Delia was playing his first NHL game, and he cramped up in the third period. So they had to put this guy in, the accountant. And when he came onto the Chicago bench, Joel Quenneville was coaching. He'd never met him before. And I guess
I remember this.
when Foster walked up, Joel's like, hey, how you doing? Good to meet you. And he's like, the guy was terrified. And he goes in, and it was against Winnipeg. And I think he made 2 or 3 saves, something like that. I
Yeah.
was hoping Line was right in his heyday, and I was hoping Line got a one-timer on him, just because what a story that would be for him, right? And but it was,
Like
like it
kill
was
him.
always it was all crowded, and nobody knew what the hell was
Yeah.
going on. It's kind of like last night. It was pretty funny stuff.
You're talking about two pros in Jordan Binnington and obviously the head coach, Jim Montgomery. And look, it's none of our business what sort of conversations happen between coach and player behind closed doors. But don't you get the sense that they've had some heated exchanges, or there's one coming, just based on the volatility in the world that Binnington plays in? I mean, he's a fiery, super competitive guy, and Montgomery, he's paid to win, right? And make tough decisions. And he's not afraid of hurting feelings. It just feels like those two are going to clash. Hopefully not publicly. It'd be great for us, I guess. But, you don't want to see players and coaches air their dirty laundry, but it does feel like it's coming.
Well, if put it this way, if they've not had a steady stream of communication, that cork is about pushed as far
Yeah.
as it's going to go, right? It's like it's been a miserable year there, and Binnington's been the focal point of most goaltending talk around the league all year because
Yeah.
of the Olympic team, and the way that his year's gone. But I can't imagine there's too much that's all giggles around there right now. It's like it's been they're one. St. Louis, I would say, is one of probably 3 or 4 teams that you could say that whatever they thought the year was going to sort of be like, it's
Yeah.
nowhere near it, and they
No.
would be one of them, I would think.
Right. The New Jersey Devils.
There's another team.
There's another team. They can't find it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I would think that Tom Fitzgerald, the general manager, is running out of answers. It's inexplicable, aside from injury. I mean, that happens to all clubs, so they've had to
Sure.
deal with that. But they just can't get out of their own way. Tuesday, they lose 9-0 to the Islanders. Now, the Devils outshot the New York Islanders 44-24. Jacob Markstrom was left in the New Jersey net to marinate for all 9. I thought he handled it pretty well in the interviews post, but 9 goals, Ray, is a lot for any goaltender at any level to have to deal with. Does that further develop? Does that leave a stain, some sort of deep sourness with Markstrom that Sheldon Keefe hung him out there for 9 straight?
Oh, well, I mean, I've never been a goalie, but I can't think of too many times where a guy's in there for 9 and he stays. Um, you know, Patrick Waugh did it, and then he got traded a week later in Montreal way back in the day. It's kind of interesting. He was on the other bench for the nine. I remember a few years ago, Vancouver had a back-to-back, and Casey DeSmith had to stay in there and take 10 on the chin. And, that one didn't go very well. I don't get it. I don't understand. It was 5-0 after 2. They did not play the next day. And saying, he's got to own it. Like, to me, that thought is that this is more on the goalie than the team. Well, you've got to own it. And I don't like that. I don't know. I thought 5-0 after 2 is pretty clear the night's not going very well. Maybe you don't want to put Allen in there, but I was going to say, because he's an older guy, but honestly, it's your job. If you're supposed to go in the net, go in the net. I'm sure he would have gone in the net. And by every account, Jake Allen's, he's a pretty upfront, really good teammate sort of guy. But I didn't like, I got no idea. I got no idea what the discussions were, but leaving a guy in there for 9, that's a tough one. There is nothing positive around New Jersey right now. Even going back to when it felt like, when Quinn Hughes was going to get traded, that maybe they were going to be the team that was going to acquire him because of his brothers. I've been one of those guys before where you're one of the names rumored pretty consistently to be going back. Like if you're Dawson Mercer read his name in the paper or online 18,000 days in a row. It does start to bug you. And I was that once, and I hated it. And it bothered me. It affected me. It really did. I probably shouldn't, but it does. And then you got what's going on with Luke Hughes. He's getting booed every time he touches the puck. And, and Jack's playing, got some kind of brace on his hand, and, Bratt and has not been very good. It's like, it's one thing after another. And then the stuff leaks out. There's guys that had no trades that said, no, well, why would anybody be pissed at those guys? Management gave them the no trade. They negotiated it. I've never understood that, where a fan base gets upset at a player for exercising a contractual right that he negotiated with the general manager. And so I don't get it. You might not like Dougie Hamilton as a player because he didn't waive his no trade, but so what? It's his prerogative to do that.
Yeah. Tough going in Winnipeg as well, right? Scott Arniel, this week anyway, calling on fans to step up in Winnipeg. And, just to keep it in context, what he means is, the fans have the ability to give the players that extra boost. Whether you think that's real or not, I'll let you kind of answer that. But he did say everyone, players, coaches, everyone has to be better. But they need the fans for a boost, something to juice them up, especially in Winnipeg. So from President's Trophy winners to last in the NHL, 41 games in. That's their reality, but what do you see as the fix?
Unless they can go get a faster car, I don't see the fix. When I watch Winnipeg play, they and compare them to just even a year ago, they were faster, they were more aggressive, they were up on their toes, they pushed the other team. I felt like Winnipeg almost played like a bully game. They pushed forward and they just relentlessly played the body on you. They attacked you. They made you, they made the game uncomfortable. And right now they got slow over the summer. They got older. I think they're one of the oldest teams in the league. And what the fix is I don't really know that there is one, because the Achilles heel is their lack of speed. And I don't see where they're going to be able to fix that. No. They had a deficiency past the Scheifele line, and that was a worrisome thing for them, and it's come true. Like they have nothing offensively past that top line, and it's really it was really noticeable in the off season that they couldn't quite fix it. and you could see that it was going to be a problem. I do have one thing about the fans, though, that I find interesting. So as you know, I'm a big baseball guy. A couple years ago, the Phillies signed Trey Turner, a really good shortstop, and he couldn't get a hit in the first half of the year. Like, he was terrible. One of the worst production shortstops in the National League. And somewhere the fans, and the fact that it was Philadelphia made it even, because that's a tough place.
Oh,
right?
tough.
They started this kind of like a campaign to, like, everything they did, anything that Turner did, they cheered. They had like these billboards, "We support you." Like, the fans put it up, not the team.
Wow.
We support. And it is amazing when you follow, like, it's almost like you can draw a direct point to that moment, to when Trey Turner started to hit again. Because the player knows he stinks. I get the feeling the fans think, "Oh, I'm going to tell him because he doesn't know." No, if you haven't scored in 14 games, you understand that. If you haven't got a hit, if you're hitting 200 for the month and you're a career 300 hitter, you understand that. The support that he got, for whatever reason, it probably just let him go free and just go, "Man, I'm doing my best." And then he got a hit, and then he got 2 more hits, and pretty soon he was back to all-star shortstop guy. And it was like pretty incredible. It is a funny feeling, like when you're playing and you get a power play and you can hear the murmurs in the crowd, and the fans are like, "Oh God, here comes that lousy power play again." And you're one of the guys going out. You're like, "God damn, that sucks." And so, yeah, I get it. But the simple fact is, right now, they're just not fast enough to play the game.
Right. And, because of all the talk around Gavin McKenna coming off the World Juniors, going into the World Juniors, the year that he's had in Penn State, I guess it's still reasonable to call it the expectation he'd go first overall in the draft. There's debate, and the gap is closed. There are others who are in that conversation, so we won't anoint him as that just yet. But in that market in Winnipeg, the fans, I think, and some of the media are like, okay, well, to your point, you're an old team. Maybe it's time. And maybe it doesn't require a full rebuild, but maybe it's time you get that young piece via the draft that can be an impactful player for this organization, not too distant future. The issue with that, as you know, though, Ray, is that it may work in some markets. It doesn't work in every market. And Mark Chipman, one of the owners of the Jets, did his research prior to signing Scheifele and Hellebuck, talked to Detroit, talked to Buffalo, talked to these teams that went through these lengthy rebuilds. And his business perspective at that time was that Winnipeg probably couldn't sustain a lengthy rebuild. Well, not much has changed. So if Cheveldayoff as general manager is going to change this team, he's going to somehow have to do it on the fly, and that might come with some pain and suffering. Like, you're not getting a first round pick for Nemestikov or Nyquist or a player like that. But if a Logan Stanley were to enter the equation, or a piece that you don't love the idea of parting with, where you get somebody back with some term who fits an age dynamic, or you get that draft pick, maybe it does make some sense.
Well, they're last. I mean, whether you think it's sustainable or not, is one decision. Clearly, they've got to get younger and they got to get faster. If you're the oldest, slowest team in the league, well, there's 2 things you got to fix. But and I think this is really important, because I'm reading around the league, like, anytime a team takes a dip or a dive, the media and the /fans, they start talking about, well, let's just rip it down and go get, whether it's McKenna or Stenberg or whoever. Okay, here's the thing. Your players, you have to have other teams that want your players. And so even if I want your players, I might not be giving you what you want. Yeah. And so why would you do that? If you do that today, I'll give you an example, because, I live in Vancouver. Kiefer Sherwood's much talked about right now. Yeah. And so I'm reading with a lot of these media guys, and I'm like, man, they cover the league. Like, do they not get it? And they're like, well, why don't they just make that move now? Well, obviously they're going to try and get the best return that they
Yeah.
can. If they go and take the best return now, and it's not a really good return, then you'll have all the media will write, that's poor asset management. You
Yeah.
can't have it both ways. Like the lack of understanding um, around the league. Like, you know what the Rangers should do? They should trade this guy and that guy. Right? Look, they're a mess right now without Fox and without Shesterkin. They're
Yeah.
they're in tough. But you can't go trade six guys because maybe teams don't want your six guys, or they don't want them for what you think is your proper return. You
It's
can
always the
quibble with
case.
the right. You can quibble with the return,
Yeah.
but if I'm if I'm Winnipeg, I am looking at how do I get younger? How do I get faster? And
Mm.
it doesn't necessarily mean trade for draft picks, but can I find
Yeah.
22-year-old players that maybe are out of rope in the um,
Yeah.
in the city that they're in? I want to say one
Yeah.
thing about McKenna though, because I think of this all the time when I see a highly touted player maybe not meet these grand expectations that are around them, in particular at the World Junior Tournament. You know who looked like a peewee player at the World Junior Tournament? In my experience of doing it,
Yeah.
Nate McKinnon. I'm like, this guy's the number one pick. I'd never seen him before. He had a cage on, right? He had a full cage on. I'm like, he looks like he's playing peewee. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, and because he just was so young. He was so young. And I'm not saying Gavin McKenna's anywhere near Nate McKinnon because he's not. He's not the same personality. He's not the same type of player, none of that. But Gavin McKenna's 17 years old.
Yeah.
He's thin. He's not powerful. That will come. Will it come in a year or two or three? Well, guess what all these scouting meetings are about? They're
Yeah.
trying to figure that out. They're
Mm.
trying to put a couple more pieces together. And by the way, I think he had 14 points.
Pretty good.
So
The offense
it's
was
not
there.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And did he check? No, he did not. And most highly skilled junior and college players do not get that side of the game. They do
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
They just don't. Man, I take a look at Connor McDavid as an 18-year-old and take a look at him 5 years later. He's not even
Yeah.
close to the same player. I mean, he was
No.
brilliant when he came in, but then you're like, oh my God, look what else he can do.
Yeah.
Like, it's the immediacy of everybody having the hot take about the best player or the best two players. Or, oh, I wouldn't take him first. You don't have to take him first today. The draft's in June.
Right.
You
Yeah.
get 6 months to figure it out still. And
Yeah.
these guys will write their own story. That it inevitably happens.
All right. Another bit of a mystery here, but it's a positive one from a Toronto Maple Leaf standpoint, is Auston Matthews, the captain. Seemingly has flipped a switch since the Christmas break. Way more engaged, and not just because of the goals and what he's creating, but he's way more engaged in every sense. And his teammates are following that lead. It looks like a different team right now. And Auston Matthews definitely looks like the superstar that I think most of us were accustomed to seeing. How does that happen? Because and I asked the question, but I got to preface it by saying this. Everybody assumed he was playing with something. Something was hurting. Was it lingering from past and from management to his agent? Everybody said, no, he's fine.
Okay.
He's fine. Well, he didn't look fine for the first 37, 38 games. There were flashes, of course. I mean, he's that quality of a player. How do you flip that switch? How does that happen? How does that make sense to you?
I wish I would have known 30 years ago because I would have flipped it and I would have been way better.
Yes.
First of all, only certain players could do that, could even, would have the abilities to do that. And Matthews has that. I thought his first 35 games were a complete mystery. He didn't look like the same player. You're right. The engagement wasn't there because one thing that maybe low key Matthews has really been good at always is retrieval of the puck when he doesn't have it. He's got a really good little stick lift and turn, and then he's out of the traffic, and none of that seemed to be there. His speed was down, and the thing I don't buy about something was bugging him is that it doesn't bug you for 37 games and then doesn't bug you in the 38th game.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't really understand it. You say like the team's following along. That's what a leader is. And so, and I've wondered if about those guys before, and I've said it before. I wonder if they understand how much weight they carry in the with their team, like when they play or when they don't play. I wonder if they understand really how much it impacts everybody else, because it really does. And so I was, mystified watching him early, and now I'm like, now when you look at the Leaf box score as you're scrolling down, don't you kind of expect that he's got a goal in there somewhere?
Yeah.
Right. It's like it used to be on the Leafs. By the way, I know there's no dress code, but was Nylander wearing frickin' pants that day, or was it just the undershirt?
I don't know.
Why didn't he? You know what? I was thinking the only thing missing was one of those arrows from the Bugs Bunny cartoons that points at you that says, "Hey, everybody, look at me." That was the only thing missing.
That would be part of it. Yes, that would be part of it.
Like, for the love of God, find a cool T-shirt. He looked like they rounded him up and they're like, "Hey, the game's on now. You got to come." And he's like, "Oh yeah, all right." And there's got to be some steady.
You think you'd have got away with that back in the day? Some of the captains that you played with.
No, but of course not. But what I don't get is, like, I know you can wear whatever you want, but isn't there there is no floor to this?
No.
Okay. I didn't know that. So,
I mean, team by team, I think they would have independent sort of internal standards.
You know what? I've got next Thursday, Toronto's in Vegas, and in my 5 minutes of chat that we get with the coaches beforehand, I certainly am going to ask Chief about his thought on that undershirt. I don't know. It just strikes me as funny, like that. Like we're all old school or whatever guys, and like I looked at that. I'm like, what am I looking at? The guy doesn't have a shirt on, man.
I actually thought it was an AI shot, to be honest. When I saw it, I went, that can't be real. But apparently it was. Let's wrap up the Canadian Brewhouse headlines with your New York Islanders, Raymond.
Oh, yeah.
Gunning for a playoff spot. I mean, man, they're in there. They're second in the Metro. That Metro division is something else. 18-year-old Matthew Schaefer has provided a spark. That's obvious and an understatement.
Yeah.
But can that happen? And not just because of how young he is, but does it make sense to you? Because this team is playing fast, they're playing confident. You look at this roster now, and there's at least 10 players who are contributing on a night in and night out basis. They're a good team right now. But can you inject a spark like that, be it from an 18-year-old who everyone knew was good, didn't expect him to be anywhere near this good at the NHL level, or maybe it's a 28-year-old that just signed as a free agent that provides a bit of spark. Like, can that happen? Can one player just kind of bring everything into focus?
95% of the time, no, unless you are something special. And I mean, special and generational and all that stuff gets thrown around a lot. Yeah. There was something completely different about Matthew Schaefer. The Islander franchise has been waiting for like this gush of fresh air for a long time. Yeah. And this is everything you could hope for in a player. His story makes you stand up and take note right away. the way that he discusses his mom and his journey is another thing. The first time you watch him play, he looks completely different than other players. He took, like, you say, like, they're playing faster. Well, he plays 22 minutes a night. So for 22 minutes, they're faster just because he's there.
Yes.
Right? And so if you're Matthew Barzal, are you not super excited when that kid's on the ice?
Yeah.
You're Bo Horvat. Horvat's a shooter, right? Well, now the puck comes to him. Comes to him faster and quicker and more often. Everybody that plays with him is uplifted. Like I saw him. I did a game in New York early in the year, and I was like, oh my God, like everything that I've seen on TV and read about him doesn't match what he's doing. Like I can't. He was better than what I'd been reading about. I'm so happy for the fans that love that Islander team, because and the reason I say, of course, I'm an alum, and they've really got a special place in my heart. Like they're the place I had my most success. I just loved it there. And you go into that new rink, and it's a beautiful place, and they're just waiting for something great to happen. And the success they had was like a pack success. There was no star to it. Now there's a star. And and this is not a flash star. This is he's changed the narrative. And by the way, because it just went, it gets pushed under the rug. Last year, in Matthew Darsh's first year as GM, they made that trade for Noah Dobson.
Yeah.
They picked up a first-round pick. They got 3 first-round picks in the first 20 last year. They got Matthew Schaefer, Keishon Atchison, and Eklund, I believe, is the young Swedish kid. All super highly touted players. In one draft, they're going to change the course. This draft, likely for them, the 2025 draft, will be like the 2017 draft was for the Dallas Stars.
Right.
And the Dallas Stars got Miro Heiskanen, Jake Ottinger, and Jason Robertson in one draft.
Yeah.
When they say, like,
it never happens. Almost never happens.
Right. You want a 10-year rebuild? Well, then, or not, get 3 draft picks like this. And those 3 kids with the Islanders have a chance to change the page, like, not overnight, but over.
Excellent stuff. Well, those are your headlines. Thank you to the Canadian Brew House. Let's bring in Ryan Rashog. It's time for Ask Ryan Driggs Anything.
Oh, great. Hi, Ryan. Happy New Year.
Oh, there he is.
What's going on? Still chuckling. Good. Still chuckling, Dregs. Well, if people could only hear what goes on off air on this before we start the show and after it's done.
Ryan, because I've forgotten already as I was thinking about other stuff. What is your grammar?
Oh, God.
Corrupt.
What was the term?
So
grammatically corrupt.
Grammatically corrupt. So for those listening, Ryan has unfortunately written an email that had a spelling mistake with it. And teacher Drager has mentioned that he is grammatically corrupt, which is a term I've never used or heard, and I think is absolutely brilliant.
But that's not the problem, Ray. Like, I can accept that I made a mistake. The problem is Darren Dreger in general. Like, this is the dynamic, right? This is a dynamic. I'm just trying to do my job and be helpful with the show this morning, and I'm sending along helpful little notes, and Dregs is just sitting back taking little jabs at me, right? Little jabs, little pops. So I come on to the group chat before the pod's going to start, and I start defending myself. And I thought I did a really good job defending myself. I thought I made some good points. I kind of stymied him and stunned him a little. He didn't have much to say. And then he always does this. Out of the blue, if he feels like he's lost an engagement, he just pulls something out of the blue. And he goes, yeah, you might want to check your spelling when it comes to emailing our sponsors. And just out of the blue, and then drops the, your grammar, you are grammatically corrupt, which I'm so annoyed at the whole engagement. But when he drops that, it's such a good term and it's so funny.
Okay, but is he wrong?
I can't help but just laugh.
Is he wrong though?
No, he's not wrong. And it was really funny, but it's annoying. It's annoying because I had won the argument and then he just comes over to the top with that. You're grammatically corrupt, which immediately, Ray, you just start dying laughing. So that doesn't help.
It's an amazing term. It's an amazing term.
You're grammatically corrupt.
I mean, the conclusion is you obviously didn't win the argument, and that's been part of your professional issues over the year, is that you think that you're out of place, but you're actually not there.
Yeah.
You know what?
I would say that's fair.
If he'd like to, paint over this argument, I know where you can get some paint.
Oh, stop with this paint.
The world's largest collection of paint.
Largest collection of paint. Okay. We got lots of great contributions from people, and some came in early this morning and are quite timely. So I like this one in particular. Dennis in Kitimat says, I was looking at the NHL standings, guys, and couldn't help but notice 3 Canadian teams right at or near the bottom of the barrel and just one team in the top 10. Is it flat out harder for teams north of the border to achieve and sustain success? I love the show. Thanks for taking my question, concerned Canadian. That's Dennis in Kitimat. I don't know. Anything there, Ray?
Well, I think there are challenges, of course, right, to playing in Canada that some players might not want to play here, and I do think in some cases there are challenges to it, but there are challenges in any smaller market, perhaps, to whether it's in the United States or Canada. I do think things can be cyclical, and you got Winnipeg they have been sustainably successful.
Yeah.
You got to remember, it's bloody hard to win. What is success? Like, you can say winning a Stanley Cup, but if that's the case, man, there's sure been buckets of teams that haven't been successful because they can't get over the final hurdle. So I'm still flabbergasted that a team from Canada hasn't won in 32 years now, I guess, right? I can't believe that's been the case, but it is. So maybe there's more to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Winnipeg is the obvious, right? Because they go from winning the President's Trophy, not significant change. I mean, you lose a couple of speedy guys in Nick Ehlers and Appleton. The experiment on Jonathan Taves, hasn't worked out well either. Would have hoped. But beyond that, I just did not see or forecast Winnipeg going through the year that they've gone through this year. But then you look at Montreal. I mean, there's some positive stories too, and teams that have developed and have gone down their path. So I think it's more coincidence than anything.
Okay, moving on. This one comes to us from Mike in Toronto. Hey, fellas, simple one. Should Jordan Binnington even be in the conversation to start for Canada at the Olympics, or is he the clear-cut number 3 going in based on where his game is currently sitting? That coming to us from Mike in Toronto. It's interesting, guys, in and around the time of that announcement, not only do you hear a lot of pundits, I mean, Binnington, it was no doubter he'd be on the team, but many suggesting he absolutely gets the net for Canada in game 1 at the Olympics. I'm not sure, Ray. What do you think?
I really don't know what they think about that whole thing, about the goaltending position, because clearly, statistically, he shouldn't be on the team, right? Like, that's, I mean, his numbers would tell you that he shouldn't be. If I'm picking a starter right now, Logan Thompson's got the best numbers, right? By a significant margin. It is the most interesting decision to think of. But I wouldn't get, because I was going to say this, I wouldn't get my shorts in a knot, whoever's in the net the first game. There will be a plan going into the tournament for the first couple of games. And probably by game 3, you're going to see who their preferred starter is.
Yeah.
You might not, whether you split the first 2 games or you've got to get a sense of who's playing, who's your guy at that point.
Right.
And I go back to 2010 when Canada won here at home, and Marty Brodeur was the starter going into game 1. And then all of a sudden he wasn't. He was the backup, and Roberto Luongo took over. It does not feel like this is a strength of the Canadian team. Put it that way.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the intel that I got last Wednesday when they unveiled this team, and the numbers haven't changed a lot. They haven't improved, definitely, for Jordan Binnington. But
the
message that I got,
night.
no. The intel that I was given on last Wednesday was that Binnington would get the net out of the gate on a very, very short leash. And if that happens and his game doesn't improve, then that's just John Cooper looking at his resume, fierce competitor that Jordan Binnington is, and saying, I'm playing my hunch here because we've won with you, but you get a game. And if it's no good, then you're out. I think they adhere to that unless they don't have a choice because it gets worse between now and then.
See, they're likely to see 2 goalies either way because they play back-to-back days. They got Czechia on the 12th and the Swiss on the 13th, and then a day off, and then France on the 15th. They might not play again till the quarterfinals, which is the following Wednesday. So you almost have to start whoever you think your starter is, one of the first 2 games, and then play them against France, or you're like 6 days between starts.
So, Ryan,
well, you know who's making that call? John Cooper.
Yeah. So, Ryan, they play back-to-back and then a day off?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah. So then that sets up perfectly for a start for Binnington, a start for Thompson. And I think you have to do that anyway. And the reason I say that is that if for some reason you wanted to play somebody back-to-back, I don't know why you would, because they don't do it all year. But if you did, then whomever is playing later, you might need somebody as an injury guy. What if he hasn't played in 2 weeks? Right? So I think it's a split, and then you probably got a pretty good leg up as to the team against the goalie that'll play against France. So that'll be, I mean, whatever's going to happen, but that's going to be the most interesting topic for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think you got to play your guy against France because that'll be your last action for a few days. Okay, moving on. Where was that one? John in St. Albert, 25 shots in 3 games for Connor McDavid. He's clearly playing some of the best hockey of his career right now. But, Ray, how different does someone have to be thinking the game to do that? 25 shots in 3 games.
Well, you can think as much as you want. But I was going to say, I could think I should get 25 shots in 3 games, and that took me a month, like literally. And he does it in a week. But I assume what he's talking about is earlier in the year, he didn't have any volume really to his shooting. I assume that's what he's mentioning. I understand how guys of that caliber, a little mind shift can be a big thing. And I'm sure early in the year, they're trying to keep people involved. They're trying to get people involved to see if they can, and Connor would feel that too. But after a while, like, you got to look and go, wait a minute, the best option is me. Like I'm the best option. And it might sound rude or whatever, or selfish, but I think there are times where when Connor plays with a little bit of selfishness, and I mean that as a positive, or a little bit of arrogance. And again, I think that's, if you have puck arrogance, like that means you think you can pretty much do anything. And I think right now he should feel it, man. The stuff he does is just like, people just cannot do what he does. It's amazing to watch. Like that's a crazy number of shots. And what has he got? He's got 16 game points, 17 goals, right? in that?
17 goals, 39 points.
That's pretty good. Just somebody said that in that streak, players get paid $8 million for that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for the season.
Yeah.
A $4 million player gets 40 points. Connor did that in a month.
Yeah.
Well, the media's been pushing him to shoot more, though, Ray.
Yeah,
that's taking credit for that.
Changed.
Yeah, did you hear him post game? He was asked post game about it, and he's like, about the 25 shots, and he's like, I don't know. We've talked about this lots, this group of ours, meaning the media. And he goes, I said I wanted to shoot more. You guys say you want me to shoot more, so I'm shooting more. So there you go. He was so deadpan. It was really funny. It was. Yeah, that was good stuff. Jason Gregor had a good tweet this morning pointing out that 39 points in his 16 games. He'd be the leading scorer on 10 NHL teams this season with just the points that he's got in that streak. So he'd be the leading scorer on that many teams. I thought that was a poignant tweet from Greg's. All right, last one, and we will wrap it up. Macklin Celebrini, amazing to watch this season. And as a Sharks fan, I'm excited to see where he can take his game. When it comes to the McDavid McKinnons of the world, do you see him having the potential to push his way into that conversation over the next few seasons? Or is he an amazing player, just not destined for that tier of the discussion? Can't wait to see him at the Olympics. Enjoy the show. Go Sharks. How about Nathan in Winnipeg, a displaced Sharks fan in Winnipeg? Ray?
Well, that's interesting in itself. Can he get to McDavid, McKinnon? I hate saying no, but my first inclination is McDavid plays the game in a place that other people can't. Mm-hmm. Remember when Nathan McKinnon had a 15-point lead on everybody in the league, right? And then McDavid just moved into a different lane, and like he can. I think McDavid's at a level that I think there's McDavid, and then there's the next group, and I do believe Celebrini can play his way into that grouping, but I look at McDavid in a different way. I don't know. I just think he's the most singularly talented player that the game has really ever seen. He does things that nobody else in the history of the game can do.
I agree with that. So further to that, put your general manager hat on here for a moment. You're drafting first overall. Do you take Macklin Celebrini or Matthew Schaefer?
Oh. Do you know what makes that? Yeah, but you know what makes it? I would always default to the defenseman, because he could play whatever. But the apparent character of these two guys, like you see it in the way that they play, and the way that they talk, and the way that they put themselves in a position of leadership at such a young age. Like, what an impossible choice. Because you know what, in, I don't know, whatever the number of years is going to be, Matthew Schaefer will be the captain of the Islanders. Celebrini will be the captain of the Sharks. And then when they get to the Olympic team together, one will be the captain and one will be the assistant. Like, these guys are destined to, I'm not answering your question because I think I would take Celebrini, but God, stick me with. I'd like the second pick in that draft, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you're good either way.
Let someone else. How about you, Dregs? How about you? You posed the question.
I'd probably take Schaefer.
Yeah, because of the D.
I'd probably take Schaefer just from all aspects. And I mean, how do you argue with the game that Macklin Celebrini has? But it does feel to me like, as difficult as it is, it's unfair to compare him against the best of the best at this stage of his career. And teams are going to learn how to play him differently. I mean, his engine is tremendous, but Schaefer's got a little bit of everything on that back end for me.
I'll tell you one thing. You say they're going to learn to play. They'll learn to play him differently. I got an idea. Don't chase him. It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah. All right, that was Ask Ray and Dregs Anything.
Those are
Thanks
good
to
ones
everybody
today.
that sent stuff in. You can hit us up. You can DM us on Twitter if you have any questions at any time. Ray and Dregs podcast at gmail.com as well. Or we also put out a social media post asking for questions. You can just reply to those. But some great responses this week. And now, gentlemen, I will bow out of the podcast while you all talk about the dominant week that I had in the Tim Hortons Challenge. I bid you farewell.
I appreciate that.
Adieu.
Thanks, Ryan. The
Adieu.
Tim's Hockey Challenge. We'll bring in Krista Bunya, Zuby. And by the way, Zuby, we have to clear up so we talked about the Joel Hofer, Jordan Binnington situation. My good friend Pierre LeBrun actually is clarifying this on early insider trading. Apparently, Hofer had a chunk of his gear off. And Zuby, as a goalie, you would know this. So he was feverishly trying to get it all on when the call came, and he wasn't quite ready before the officials said, okay, enough. We're not waiting for the goalie change any longer, and they dropped the puck. So
what's the worst part of that? We've all had to do something fast. And I can hear my mom's voice, Raymond, haste makes waste. Haste makes waste. and he's in there and he doesn't have, guaranteed he didn't have his uppers on, eh?
He's in the trainer's room. Something was going on,
And then he couldn't get his arm in, and then the strap, one of those little $2 straps broke. That's good stuff.
It makes a bit more sense too because of him peering out as like, do they still need me? Are they?
Yes,
do you still want that? Maybe you know what's funny too. I can't even tell you guys how many times I've had that dream that I show up late for even in beer league, whatever. I never played anything important. That I show up late for a game and I'm trying so hard to get my gear on as fast as I can. And it's just not happening. It's like you're moving in cement or whatever. So I do relate to that.
Our pick should be quick this week, Zuby. Ray and I, no good. 0 for 3. 0 for 3. No good. No good.
Yeah, and Shager with a huge opportunity to make up some ground got 1. So he picked up 1 spot. He's up to 13 for 66. Ray in second place, 21 for 66. Dregs still in first, 25 for 66. I got 2 on the last game. Talking about Macklin Celebrini, I'm riding that wave. I'm on a 2-game Celebrini streak alone.
Go get that coffee, Zuby. Go get
as long as he's available. I'm just gonna. I didn't even realize that the 7-day streak got you a week's worth of coffee until Dreg said it today. I thought it was 1 coffee because I do have one. So I think it's time for me to cash it in.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Good work by you, my friend. But I am looking for better over the course of the weekend and into next week's Ray and Dregs. All right, Zuby, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, Ray, we're Thursday. We're recording. What's the weekend? Are you going to just kind of lay low? You got some travel? What's happening?
Oh, yeah. I not that anybody cares. I got home into the house at midnight last night. Got today here. I'm on a 7:30 flight tomorrow to Boston, where we have Rangers in Boston on Saturday afternoon. So that's the weekend. Then I'll be back. How about you? What do you got?
Relatively low key. We're through the post holiday season, so kind of back into routine. I'm curiously enjoying dry January. Curiously.
Good for you.
Yeah. But it also so happens that 2 of my very good buddies and their wives are on a holiday. So I have had 0 distractions. Nobody calling me, hey, what are you doing this afternoon? What do you want to do this weekend? So it's kind of nice. So now no big plans.
No, that's kind of nice too, though. That's kind of nice. And they'll be back soon. They'll be back soon. And they'll drag you away. So
I'm blocking
Be strong,
them.
Drakes. Be strong. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good weekend.
You bet. You too, Ray. And thank you to our sponsors who continue to support the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. Our title sponsor, Tim Hortons, thank you. And thank you to the Canadian Brew House. Until next time, stay safe, everybody.